there, folks, and welcome to another Pinal Prep Spotlight brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. This is essentially our winter sports wrap-up show before we jump right into spring sports. So just how we left things off last week, we had one team remaining in the 3A boys basketball tournament. ALA Ironwood was playing in the semifinals against Kayenta Monument Valley. Super exciting game here. I'm going to let David talk about it a bit because he was actually there. So David, just go ahead and tell the people what they want to know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about it being an amazing game. These two teams, ALA Ironwood and Monument Valley, really just put it all out there. Monument Valley had a little bit of an early advantage in that first half. They were using the same style that they used to beat Coolidge in the quarterfinal round. They were just really fast and really good shooting the ball and using their pick and roll to their advantage, and they were putting it to them. They had a really good chance, and before the game, head coach Ryan McCurdy told me that the team would have to rely on their size, and they weren't really doing it in the first half. You know, guys like Corey Wood, Chad Copeland, and Isaiah Duvall were not being the factors they needed them to be, but then that second half, they shifted, and they were like, we need to get going. We need to figure out how we get our guys the ball, and they did that. They crashed the boards a lot more, and they built themselves a really nice, or just a good comeback. They were able to get within one after the third quarter. Come the fourth quarter, they get a lead. They're up by 6, but then the problem is they just weren't able to close it out. You know, Monument Valley was just, very focused on their goal and very, passionate about trying to get this win and just relentless in their efforts to do that. And they were able to get a big shot at the end of the fourth quarter that turned the game into overtime. And then overtime, they just hit that one great shot that they needed, and they got it. So it was unfortunate to see the season end in heartbreak like that for the Warriors. This was a really talented team, but I have full expectation that they'll be back. They got a lot of guys that are still returning. Copeland, like I mentioned, will be back. They'll just be without guys like Corey Wood and Tony Willis, who were really good backcourt and frontcourt duo for this team. So it's just going to be a retooling year for them and see who kind of takes the lead and takes the mantle for this team next year. But it was a great season altogether. No one really expected them to get this far, and everyone kind of overlooked them, but that was a big mistake because this team made it all the way to the semifinals and were a really solid team throughout the year. So now we just see how this experience builds them for the next year and see if they can capitalize on it.
Yeah, continuing on with basketball here. I mean, I think David hit the nail on the head saying that a lot of us did overlook ALA Ironwood. For us here in Pinal County, we had our eyes set, put all of our eggs in the basket for Coolidge. Fortunately, Coolidge didn't make it very far this year. They were also a what's the word I'm looking for here? They also fell victim to Monument Valley or the game before the semifinals. But just overall, fantastic season for our basketball teams. Both Coolidge and boys and girls, they made it into the postseason, as did both of the Florence team. We talked about Post and Butte girls basketball all year long, and how they took that next step forward in trying to accomplish that end of the season goal in winning a state title. But for me, I think the biggest surprise here comes in boys soccer. I mentioned it all season long, all year long. This Florence boys soccer team just came out of nowhere. They turned into a fantastic playoff contender. They're only losing a couple guys to graduation this year. Their key playmaker here, I in my eyes, is their sophomore goalkeeper, and he's coming back next year. So, it's just a matter of trying to find guys up front who can score. And hey, this Florence team is going to be somebody we really got to keep our eyes on in boys soccer. Also, kind of got to point out some of our guys in wrestling. Plenty of wrestlers competing both in boys and girls, although we only did have one state champion getting the gold in San Manuel's Raymond Garcia. But still, overall, fantastic, fun season in winter sports. David, anything else you want to add?
Well, I think it's kind of easy to say that this was one of the busiest winter sports schedules that we had, just for the plethora of teams that we had going into the playoffs. It was really Coolidge, Florence, and ALA Ironwood. Those three teams, both with their basketball teams and their soccer teams, really kind of put themselves on the map here with these performances. They were able to get into the playoffs and face some tough challenges, maybe not get as deep as they wanted to or were they hoping for, but these teams are solid, and it was really fun to see them all go out. I want to mention some girls on the basketball side as well. Post and Butte had a great year as well. This was kind of the year that they really planted their flag as 4A contenders, I believe. And this team is definitely going to be looking to how they can shape this and build it for the future, because they are losing a lot of talent. The Bachman sisters are gone. They're going to be leaving this year, so they're definitely going to be a huge hole they have to fill. So we'll see how they can do that, as well as just some really solid. Looking forward to the future as well. I really liked watching the Coolest girls basketball team this year. I think they really have some potential to do some big things coming in the future if they can get those right pieces. And it's going to be an exciting time. If this year was great, I can't wait to see what's going to happen next year. So really good on the winter sports schedule, but now we have to close the book on that and for us to get ready for spring, because we got softball and baseball, and you guys all know that we're big softball and baseball nerds out here, so we're excited to get ready and get going in the spring.
Real quickly, do also have to shout out to our Maricopa girls soccer team. For the past couple of years, they have been one of our most consistent teams. And also a quick shout out to our Santan Foothills teams. Boys basketball was very close to making it into the postseason. They just missed the cut of making the top 24 teams. And then boys soccer, boys soccer is up and coming for the Sabercats. This was their second year in a row, winning a playoff game and making it to that first round. So who knows what's going on out there in the Santan Valley School. Football team has really turned things around, and now we have soccer and boys basketball as well. We'll try to see what else these Sabercats have cooking up out there. Like David mentioned it, we are getting ready to transition over to our spring sports. So be sure to tune into Pinal Prep Spotlight next week for our picks on the top baseball teams in Pinal County.